What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 34 of The Rise of a Nation, here with FC Edmonton in the Canadian Premier League. We are back, and today's a slightly different episode. We are going to be taking on York 9 today in a game that actually has massive bearing on the Spring Championship. And following on from that, we're going to continue forward to see how things kind of play out, and then after that, we're going to skip forward to the Canadian Championship because since you were last here, we've played two games and they've been awful, frankly. Let's talk about the first one. It was against Cavalry FC, a 3-3 draw. Marshall grabbed us a hat-trick. It wasn't enough. He scored from the penalty spot in the 6th minute, a decent little long-range effort in the 32nd minute into the bottom right corner. However, Cavalry did come back strong. Jordan Brown got one back before half-time. In the second half, they got off to a flyer. And, from there, Alex Marshall, I thought, had performed some absolute heroics as he rifled in his second long shot of the game with less than 10 minutes remaining. However, it was not meant to be. They grabbed another goal back. Unfortunately, that is how it finished. Now, I feel for Alex Marshall. I feel like any game where you score a hat-trick as a player but your team can't see it out, you kind of look around and think, well, what more could I have done? He has been pretty good for us. This is only one of a handful of appearances he's been given. Of course, Alex Marshall, we know him. He's been here a long while now at this point. He only got 4 goals last year. He's already got 3 goals this year thanks to that hat-trick. Keen to see him continue to feature in the first team. However, with a lot of the younger centre-mids we have coming through, his opportunities might be limited. Anyway, the other game that we played was against Union Milliken. Oh God, what is the team? Unionville Milliken Sports Club? SC, whatever that means. They beat us 2-0. You can see the highlights on screen, and you can see the stats in the bottom left. We got completely bloody FM'd, but it does mean that in the second leg against them, which we'll do today, we need to turn things around. So, yeah, we'll see how we get on there. I mean, we're 2 goals down after the home leg. I'm not sure, do away goals count? Because if away goals count, the fact we didn't score could be a problem. They do count. We're going to have to annihilate them, basically, in the second leg to stand any chance of going through. So, yeah, I said today we're going to do something a little bit different, and that's because we're going to finish the spring season. You can see here, York 9 we played today. Now, we are tied with York 9 on 8 points. A win here will pull 3 points clear. York 9, however, their last game of the spring split is played on the 1st of July. Our last game of the split is played on the 5th of July. There was some rescheduling done to do with the amount of players we have on international duty. So as a result, we're going to play the York 9 game and then just continue forward and see how things play out. We might have to play the Pacific game. If we do, great. If we don't, what I'll do is I'll skip straight to the Unionville Milliken Sports Club kind of video match, and we'll do that game as well. But just for a reminder, the Canadian Premier League looks like this right now as we go into this game against York 9. The league kind of splitting rules. First and foremost, it is goal difference. Then it is goals scored. I want to check this now. Is it? Yeah, games won, goals difference, goals scored, away goal difference. We should, if we win this game, put ourselves in a great position to have the better record and go through. But of course, the way things are playing out with games being played at the end of the spring split at slightly different times, who knows? Now, you'll notice here, slightly rotated team. We've got some players away on international duty, and I believe some players set to go away on international duty as well. The Gold Cup is happening this summer. We've not had to really experience this impacting our first team, but it is going to do that today. St. Duc is away, Deshays is away. Jose Hernandez, who isn't even registered at the moment, he is away. A little bit of news, Nick Daly has picked up his Canadian citizenship, but I believe he's going to be going on international duty soon. Karata still waiting on the paperwork for his for his residency. Anyway, the good news is that Ace Vado is coming back to full fitness following his injury. He's been out with a strained hamstring, if I'm not mistaken. It does mean that for today's game, we're going to play Romeo in the ball-winning midfielder role. The rest of the team, however, fairly standard, I feel like, at this point. ABZ is also away on the African Cup of Nations. So, yeah, he's out for about a month. So it looks like a really good blessing that we brought in Lucelio, who's continued to develop. He is naturally going to slot in that left centre-back position for us. Hopefully, he can do the business. York 9, on the other hand, they are a very strong team. They are very high in the league for a reason. This is not going to be easy, particularly with some of our big key players missing. And, well, assuming that Nick Daly does go away to the Gold Cup with Jamaica, which I'm almost certain will be the case, the next month could be a little bit challenging. So really, I would like to win this game whilst we still have half a squad. And then if we do need to rotate things, you know, for the upcoming autumn season, you know, players being away for the start of it and stuff, it's not the end of the world. Nick Daly hits the woodwork after 18 seconds. I mean, that bodes well for the rest of the game, but if that flies in, this game gets off to a very, very different start here. We'll see how we get on, though. We're still, obviously, persisting with our three at the back system. It's worked very, very well for us. And this year, it's been a little bit hit and miss. The draw against Cavalry was very disappointing recently. I feel like the defeat we had in the first leg of the Canadian Championship, it was just genuinely one of those games. You saw the stats. We had so much more of the ball, so many more shots. They had 2 shots on target, and they both found the back of the net. They just hit us lethally on the counter twice. I do feel like there was perhaps some somewhat questionable defending. I can't remember with any certainty, but if I remember correctly, we did rotate the team quite heavily for that game. It's obviously always been a big part of the Canadian football season. It's a short season here in the Canadian Premier League, but it's an intense season and rotation is necessary. Daly through here. Can he finish it? Of course he can. Mosavat with the assist. What a ball from deep. He unfortunately didn't make it into the Canadian Gold Cup squad. Deshays has made it at centre mid, but Mosavat missed out, perhaps giving the Canadian football community just a taster for what they're missing out on. Superb ball through, the finish by Nick Daly, sublime as well. There is real pressure on us to win this game. A defeat here, even a draw here, it would not be a comfortable end to the season. It really wouldn't be. We should be winning the spring split, as far as I'm concerned, fairly convincingly, even when we do need to rotate the team a little bit. Can we get another goal here? Karata, what a finish that is! It's only his second goal of the season. The striker turned right midfielder, bangs it into the bottom corner. Bill, out on the left-hand side with the assist. I feel like Adam Bill has been a real revelation for us over the last 12 months. He kind of burst onto the scene the second half of last season. And he just turns provider so often out in the wide areas. And with that, we double our lead. A quick fire double. 2 goals scored in the space of 2 minutes. We've had some tough games in this spring season. Disappointing games as well. It's always been high scoring. Defensively, we've perhaps been a little lacking. Lots of new players coming in, though, in the back line. And lots of rotation required. So I'm not overly concerned yet. But it is something to perhaps just keep a little eye on, the fact that actually defensively we've not been impenetrable like perhaps we have been in previous seasons. Still alternating as well between Williams and Connor James in goal. I've still not really decided who our best keeper is. I feel like both have been a little underwhelming this year. Maybe that's partially on me for the amount of rotation I'm doing in that area of the pitch. I'm kind of someone who traditionally wouldn't want to mess around with my goalkeepers too much. What a ball that is by Mosavat. Can Daly finish? He can't on this occasion. That ball was nutty by Mosavat from deep. He is showing the creativity that Deshays often provides. I feel like there's going to be a bit of pressure on his shoulders for him to be the big creative outlet along with Alex Marshall in our team. Just with a few key players away on international duty. Half an hour gone here. We've been completely dominant in this game. York 9 are really, really struggling to do, well, anything in truth. We've been by far and away the better team. 40 minutes gone here. Apparently they're looking to close down the ball more. We've had one clear-cut chance, one half chance, taken them both. Karata's playing superbly. Daly's playing superbly. Of course, these average ratings always massively, massively influenced by goals and assists, it feels like. Far too much, in my opinion. That's why a lot of players who come on off the bench, particularly if they're more defensive subs, always end up with bad average ratings. Feels like defenders, their average ratings only really shoot up in the second half after they've been keeping a clean sheet for a sustained period of time. You know, say a more defensive midfielder, you could come on, he could have the best game of his career, but if he came on late, he's very unlikely to get a good rating unless he scored. Anyway, Karata's just picked up a little injury. We'll hope that's nothing too serious. It does mean that Baloo is going to come in for us, and I also elected at the same time to just make a change at the back. We're going to bring in a Muz to play centre-back for us. Thinking about it, a Muz is not the best defender from a ball-playing perspective, so we'll swap him with Oyamada, who himself isn't exactly superb with the ball, but the Japanese centre-back probably is our best option out of the players we have on the pitch. Nick Daly here, crosses it in. Hamilton wins the header, lovely goal. It's only his third of the year. Nick Daly, superb crossing by Captain Fantastic. If he is going away on Gold Cup duty with Jamaica soon, we are going to miss him. But I mean, what a ball that is there. Crosses it in, Hamilton nods it down, the keeper can't get behind it. We'll still make those tactical changes. Tabler's going to come in. We'll move a Muzz, of course, out to right centre-back. Romeo doing an okay job in the ball-winning midfielder position. I say that, instantly we concede. Herbert Robinson with a long-range effort. It looked a tad ambitious, but he hit it hard and with some decent direction on it, and ultimately it's found its way into the back of the net. One touch, gets it out on that left foot. I don't know if the keeper's blindsided there. He just doesn't move. Connor James, mate. Engage feet. You might have seen that. Oyamada's rating was a 7.1 and Romeo's was good as well, or Romeo's was good as well. And then they both just instantly drop down as soon as we concede. I'm going to make a change here. Mora's on a booking. We'll play things safe. I'm going to bring in Alex Marshall to play centre mid on support. He's more of an attacking midfield option, is Alex Marshall. But with the absence of Deshays, he is going to come in quite frequently, I feel like, and slot in that centre mid position for us. The good news is we look like we're going to win here. The bad news is we couldn't keep a clean sheet, although Hamilton, get a goal, get another, make it embarrassing. He misses it. A great opportunity there to make it 4-1. Of course, York 9 rolling the dice, really. They need to commit men forward. They need 2 goals in 45 seconds. It feels very, very unlikely, doesn't it? And, well, unlikely is turning to impossibility, really, at this point. It's going to finish here with a vital, vital win. Wouldn't have minded a goal or 2 more, but you know what? We'll take that at the end of the day. York 9, they've caused us a lot of problems this year. They pushed us down to the wire, but a win here eases the pressure off us a hell of a lot. I'm not sure who their last game of the spring split is against. I'm now trying to remember, and I can't remember, but I have a feeling it's not the easiest of games. The ideal scenario is they lose that game on the 1st of July, and then we don't even have to worry about our game against Pacific in terms of doing it live. We will jump straight forward to the Canadian Championship. But anyway, a great little win there, a 3-1 win in the end. I noticed there with that result, Forge leapfrog York 9. We don't need to worry about Forge because they've played an extra game. Goal difference, though, is now massively in our favour to a point where even if York 9 win their game on the 1st, I don't think they stand much of a chance of getting into the team. Kevin Williams wants to discuss lack of first team football. Is Kevin Williams the young right midfielder that we have who is a hot prospect but that I just don't see playing regularly? Oh no, it's the goalkeeper. Of course it is. See, I'm not against bringing Williams back in. I feel like him and Connor James really are just 2 heavily rotatable options, I guess, for us. But let's skip forward. We're going to the 1st of July here. What is the score going to be in the York 9 game as I mash spacebar and just mash continue here? We are going to find out. Our last game is against Pacific. They're rock bottom. The more I think about this, the more I think this is a foregone conclusion. I was looking at Carlos Fierro, folks. I always do it. I'm just there like, maybe we could sign him. Maybe we could loan him. One day he'll come good in FM, I swear. We've been drawn against Police FC, who play in Trinidad, for our first game. How good's their team? I mean, this is a team that we should just be absolutely dismantling. I've mentioned over the last couple of episodes, but the North American League this year, I'm going to focus less on it. It'll be a similar situation to what's happened here in the Canadian Championship, where if things... I might loan him out. I'll loan you out of him. But if we get to a second leg and there's something to play for and it still feels close, then I might be inclined to do it. But for the most part, I think, unless we get really big teams in the North American League, I'm not going to worry about it quite so much. Looking at it, our games are all being rescheduled here, aren't they? This is a situation, because this has ruined my plans for the video. Right, so the York 9 result's going to happen, but regardless of what happens, we don't now play our Pacific game in the spring split until the 17th, because of the way the fixtures are being rejigged. We'll go forward to the 1st. We'll see how York 9 do, but we will come back and we'll do the Unionville game that we have regardless, and just ignore the Trinidad and Tobago Police game, I feel like. This is the issue with going far in Europe. Everything kind of gets messed up when it comes to your schedules. Mark-Anthony Kaye's had a loan offer made for him. He can actually go for that. He's been kicking up a fuss about wanting to leave. You can see how much he's just declined as a player. I feel like since we've signed him, he's just... I mean, you can see here, he's just dropped off massively. Which for a player who is only 28 is just crazy. I know he only has 4 natural fitness. I've never really experienced that in a player before. Someone who's just tailed off in his career so soon. Anyway, we've got some loan offers here for Tyrone Hooper, who's one of our young backup options. I would like to ask for a little bit of monthly fee, but it's not going to happen. But at the same time, it's freeing up just a teeny tiny bit of wages. He can go out for that and hopefully have an okay loan spell. If he gets a little bit of first team football, great. I do feel like our reserve team is a little stacked with young players who just frankly are never going to be good enough for the first team. So loaning them out and just freeing them off the wage budget is probably a good decision. One player I've been looking at is Fabian Young. His contract expires tomorrow. He could be a solution to the right midfielder problem that we've had. He's been a player who I've actually had my eyes on for a little while. Bethlehem are making a loan offer for the Duck. Look, if you want the Duck on loan, I need money, Bethlehem. I need money. I mean, he's literally not available for loan. So I don't know why they've bid on him on loan, but they have. So Kay's going to leave us. They're paying all of his wages, and if he pays 15 games, they have to pay us £125. Vitesse have apparently made an offer for Young. We had a chance to sign him, and I passed it off, and I passed it off, and I passed it off. And the only reason I didn't sign him is because he had a minimum release clause, which I really didn't like the look of. Let's just have a look. Lots of players' contracts expired. Let's have a look. Expired contracts. Who are the big boys to sign on expired contracts? This guy. I mean, this guy looks very good for San Diego State. He wants 6.5 thousand. We don't have 6.5 thousand pounds a week. We just don't have it. Tableau. I mean, he could be an option at right midfield if we needed one. But of course, we've got Baloo in now. So I'm not as desperate to get a right midfield as perhaps I was previously. This guy looks pretty good. Cameroonian international. I guess we scouted at him at some point. Jonathan Lewis. He looks okay. Magana. He's not great. He's not great. I'm going to be honest. We looked at this guy a little while ago. I don't think I ever talked about it really. But Diamande. He plays for ASEC, who of course we've signed a few players from. 19 years old. He looks like an exceptional forward, but... with some of the players we've got coming through have missed out on first team opportunities because of the fact we've got quite a lot of talent, like players like Vim here. I kind of am less keen, I guess, to just sign more strikers who are going to count towards the international limits. Is Karata still waiting on paperwork? Man, the Canadian visa people need to sort out this, because it's been 65 days that he's been eligible to be in the country. 2 months and we've still not got the paperwork through for him. Maybe I should write a sternly worded email. Williams wants to discuss lack of first team football. You're going to get more starts. Stop. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Anyway, let's see how York 9 get on here. They absolutely have to win this game against Halifax to stand any chance of dethroning us. And even then, the game against Pacific has been delayed by a ton, so I don't actually know how I'm going to work around this. The way things are looking even with gold at Halifax, when it's fine. It's fine. There we go. The worst situation has been avoided. If York 9 had won, we would have been playing a game against Pacific halfway, well, not halfway, but into the full season, which would have counted towards the other season. You can see how the fixture congestion is already getting kind of nasty for us. Shortlisted players approaching the end of their contracts. Dwayne Phillip we were looking at. He's from Trinidad and Tobago. He looks okay. He's not interested. He has no interest. The good news is we've secured a playoff spot there. So the full season we can rotate things around a little bit. Good to see that Shandal Senior, of course, repping it up for Halifax, putting a good little performance. He's on loan at them until the end of this year. Kind of player who actually I would kind of like to renew his loan under the same terms to help with our kind of positive cash flow. You can see our finances here. We are laughing, and the good thing is that every month the loan money that we are receiving, a small chunk of that is going into the transfer budget, which is why our transfer budget has slowly kind of crept up. You might have noticed over recent months. due to the board facility expansions and improvements that we've got going on at the end of the year, I'm not overly keen on spending this transfer money. Don't really need to. Don't really have anyone I'm super eyeing up to, sign and make my own. You can see here actually Nick Daly and Alex Marshall now on international duty with Jamaica for another, 2 or 3 weeks. So we're going to be without them for that next game. But, speaking of that next game, shall we skip forward to it? We are the Spring Split champions. However, we've got a lot to play for still here, and we need to turn things around against Milliken to stand any chance of making it further in the Canadian Championship. They are a League One Ontario squad. Their team is not very good. I'm panicking a little bit. We'll be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. Okay, guys, so we're back here for the second game of today's episode. We are, of course, taking on Unionville Milliken. It's not difficult. Why am I struggling? Answers on a postcard. Send help. The good news is some of our players are back from the Gold Cup, including a few Canadians. And, the Gold Cup as a whole has not been the most successful of times. If we just look at the schedule here, you can see in the Gold Cup, Canada not making it through. Jamaica topping the group. Jamaica apparently just the best team in the world when it comes to their players. I was looking at Kalen Hines, who's one of their starting strikers. I don't know, are you interested in joining us yet? No, we don't have the money, apparently. But yeah, Jamaica doing very well. In the other group, Haiti didn't make it through, so that does also mean the Duck is available for selection for today's game. Just a quick recap. In the game against Police, we won it 3-1. Just to show you the stats, I'm not going to bother showing the highlights, but we absolutely dominated them. I'm not too worried about the second leg, considering how much weaker our team was due to the Gold Cup. We're in a good little spot. But anyway, this game is a tricky one. We are the home side in it. We are 2-0 down after the previous leg, and we need to turn things around. And whilst they are a League One Ontario side that we will very much be expecting to win against, they have the advantage. If they score an away goal in this game, even just one, we're going to need to score 4. So really the aim here has got to be to keep a clean sheet. And, we need to score at least 2 goals to take it to extra time. There is plenty to play for here. This is an unfamiliar situation. If I'm not mistaken, these guys did already knock out Pacific FC previously in the competition. So they've got some calibre for headhunting. You saw the stats earlier for our previous match against them. They had 2 shots on target, 3 shots total. They hit us on the counter twice. Fair play to them. They put us to the sword. We were massively, massively unlucky. I'm hoping for some better finishing today. And it's going to be, the Duck and Hamilton up top, as Daly is, of course, still on international duty with Jamaica reaching the knockout round. The good news is Deshay is back in the team, so perhaps one of the real creative elements of our team back and raring to go, I'm hoping. He's not struggling too much with fitness either, so I can only assume he didn't feature too often during those group stage games. And speaking of the devil, here he is, Deshay's out wide to the Duck, cuts inside. Can he finish it? It hits the woodwork, the shot. Or rather, the clearance is blocked off him. It ends up looking like a shot, but it's denied right there. An early sighter, perhaps, but we need 2 goals. I'm almost tempted to go attacking from the off. I'm still scared of the counter-attack, but we can't be too respectful of them here. Ball whipped in, Hamilton. Headed away, Mora. What can you do? He pings it out to the right for Karata, who dinks it in. Duck can't get there. It falls to Deshay's. Now with Mosavat. There's Bill out wide on the left. Also Karata on the right here with acres of space. He crosses it in. Duck's there. That is what we needed, and that is what we've been missing. Karata back having served a suspension, and Duck getting on the end of a Karata cross. That has been a common thread and a common trend, it feels like, so far this year. Karata, ball dinked in, headed by the Duck into the back of the net. We will take that. But, we can't get too complacent now. We still need another goal, and as I mentioned before, if we concede 1, we suddenly have to score 4, and, we'll be back on the offensive. You can bet your bottom dollar. Anyway, they have the ball here deep. I'm trying to apply pressure high up the pitch, and it's won by Deshay's in a really dangerous position there. He plays it to the Duck. Hamilton's in the middle, back to Deshay's, and, welcome back to the first team, my friend. Duck now with a goal and an assist. Deshay's, fantastic finish by him at the edge of the box, sledgehammering it home. And, lovely little goal here, actually. St. Duck pulls it back, Deshay's on his left peg, hammers it home into the bottom right corner. And we will take that all day, every way. And while Deshays, could he get another? He hits it, hits the wood. Hamilton with the rebound. He's not offside. There is relief more than any other emotion flowing through me right now. And the reason for that is that the 2-0 defeat was a nightmare result. I mean, even if they get one away goal now, we still need another. But we look like we're back at our best. And, well, back performing as we should have done in the first leg. I say this, they're now on the attack, of course. One goal for them changes the complexion a lot. This game will now not go to extra time. We know that much. Because of the away goals rule and the fact the first leg finished 2-0 to them. But a goal here would put it 3-3 on aggregate. And while Williams to the rescue in goal. Maybe stepping up and making his claim for the goalkeeping position. I would like one more goal just to eliminate the fear that they could smash and grab one goal and get the result. What can we do here? Deshays forward to St. Duck. Options on ahead. He ends up going back to Bill. What's Bill going to do? He ghosts inside. Back to Deshays. Mora now with it. Deshays again. Lovely build-up play. And that finish. My word. My word. It's the hometown hero, Kevin Deshays. I did not realise he had goal scoring in him. But apparently he does. You can see his average ratings this year have been a step above what they've ever been before. And that's just his league form. 4-0 here after 38 minutes. Lovely build-up play. Mora playing a deeper midfield role here with Deshays and Mossavat playing as a pairing in the centre mid department. And, well, look at that for a finish. Smashed into the top corner. We will take that. Deshays, I mean, he's on for the hat-trick from centre mid. Alex Evans. No, this isn't FC United of Manchester. That is a completely different save from about 6 years ago. Alex Evans is not what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say was Alex Marshall. Alex Marshall got a hat-trick from centre, kind of mid, playing the exact same role Deshays is playing today. Can Deshays follow in his footsteps? There is part of me that's secretly a little bit glad that we've got a few of these boys back from the Gold Cup. You know, St. Duck, he's turned up big. Deshays has turned up big. Where would we be without them? Duck has scored again. It's 5-0. Why was I worrying? Why was I even worrying? It's not the most classic of finishes. The ball just dropped to his feet by the keeper. But a tidy little finish in the end. Bill put it in. Hamilton with the header. Saved away. Straight to the Duck. On his left peg. Things are looking rosy. And, well, things are looking good now. We're going to win the spring split this episode and hopefully make it a step further in the Canadian Championship, which I imagine is where we'll be next episode. You guys have seen our schedule. It's a bit all over the place. Like, one of our last games of the spring split season has been delayed, well, for a couple of weeks at least, until midway through the full season, or at least after the full season has started. I don't know who we're going to have in the next round of the Canadian Championship, but yeah, it's been a bit of a mess, I think would probably be the most polite way to describe it. Deshays for the hat-trick. Not on this occasion. Mooncat with the save. Of course, Duck also on for a hat-trick as well at this point. The Celiona booking scares me slightly. You know what, Rocco, just go on the pitch and have some fun, Rocco. Look at the amount of green on the average ratings. It's what you want to see. It's what you want to see. We've been, well, in my opinion, by far and away the better team in this game. In fact, we were the better team in the first leg. The stats really weren't that dissimilar to what we're seeing here. The difference is that today, we're actually finishing all of our chances. And also not getting hit on the counter. The Duck here. Back to goal. Lays off to Deshays. Oh my word. Oh my word. That could have very easily ended up as a goal. I'm going to take off Hamilton for Vim just to give him some first team football. And you know what? Ace Vado coming back from injury. Needs a bit of match fitness perhaps building up in him. We'll bring him on for Mora with our final sub. But job done as far as I'm concerned. I was nervous going into this. This could have ended up being a real, well, dark patch, I guess, on our season. A moment to forget. As things stand, we're looking pretty good. And while the Ducks through again, can he get his hat-trick? Of course he can. Of course he can. He might not have been able to do it for Haiti in the Gold Cup while he was away. But he's come back to his home here in Edmonton. And, well, Liam Fraser from ball-playing defender. That ball, I mean, can we discuss that? And the touchdown as well. And everything about that goal was just absolutely sublime. Into the bottom corner it goes. We'll make the double change now. Deshays still going to be looking for his hat-trick. They've just had an injury. I don't know if that's leaving them down a man or not. It might well be. Anyway, can we apply pressure high up the pitch here? Mossavat, the man doing the closing down, forcing them to go long. Rocco Romeo reads that like a book. Like a picture book. It was that easy. Now with Bill out on this left-hand side, he switches it to Karata. What can he do? He brings it forward. He dinks it in. Headed away to Mossavat. I mean, Deshays is open. He hits it. Oh, my word. He's had a few efforts from range for his hat-trick, hasn't he? He's had a few of these efforts from range. Unfortunately, they just aren't finding the back of the net. It's been a bit of a demolition job. I mean, any goal for them now is just going to be a consolation. And to be fair, they've absolutely got it. You can't argue against their clinicalness. They've scored 3 goals from 4 shots on target across 2 legs. It was Pharrell Francis with the ball here, out on the right, crosses it in, and Ewart is just there to tuck it away. Fairly simple finish in the end, but in the grand scheme of things, it's going to mean absolutely nothing. 6-1 on the night, 6-3 on aggregate. I mean, even the aggregate score looks pretty convincing considering that we were 2-0 down. Is there time for Deshays to get his hat-trick? Maybe. I want to believe there is. There's 45 seconds. It feels more and more unlikely. But, well, I don't really know what to say here. Job done, I guess, as much as anything. Job done and then some. What can Bill do? Can we get another? Duck, do you want your 4th? You could just leave it to Vim. Goes to Mossavat. He'll probably have a go from here. He doesn't. He dinks it wide to Karata, but that is not the ball that was required. And that's going to be all she wrote for this game. 6-1 on the night, 6-3 on aggregate. The turnaround is complete. Very happy with that, boys. Very relieved as much as anything as well. It's what we needed. Vim's picked up a little injury, just a slight bruise. He'll be fine. We're going to be taking on Halifax. That game's only in a week's time. I'm just wondering, do I want to come back for that? The second leg's a little way after that with lots of fixtures in between. Oh, you know what? Because I don't want to do another episode so soon. In the Canadian Championship, if we get to the semi-final, great. If we don't, it won't necessarily be the end of the world. We've already beaten Halifax twice this year and played them in a live com. I'm going to play forward a little bit and just see how things play out. We might be back for the Canadian Championship quarter-final, second leg if there's loads to play for. We'll see who we get drawn against in the North American League. Obviously, today's been a bit of a weird episode, a slightly longer one. But I kind of want to get into the save a little bit more. We'll see when we come back. I don't want to do too many episodes of just kind of mid-season games that might not have a great kind of bearing on things. And also, I'm sure you guys are sick of seeing Halifax as much as I am. We just meet them in absolutely everything, it feels like. But anyway, folks, that is going to be all from me today. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, do drop a like on the video. I will see you guys again soon. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.